game, but I think it's time to move on to the next one. And this is one that a lot of people have had a lot of things to say about, and I understand why. I really do. Um, this was the Bills and the Broncos. And in this one also went to overtime. And we had the Broncos come out on top 33-30. And it was just a tragic game overall. There is no winner in this game, really. For the Bills, first, this is their tragedy. They won time of possession. They won the red zone. They were 3 for 5, and the Broncos were 1 for 4. They had over 100 more rushing yards than the Broncos, and they lose 33-30 in overtime. So how the hell does that happen? Well, let's start with the elephant in the room. There was one controversial call that was ruled as an interception that many felt it was wrong, that it wasn't reviewed further to see if it was a catch by the receiver, who was Brandon Cooks. It was a deep shot. It was over the shoulder. Cooks he brought it in, had questionable possession of the ball. Defender gets his arm in there, and then as they're rolling around, as he pops up onto his feet, he rips it out. And they called it an interception. They didn't even review it. And that's something Sean McDermott said after the game, is how does that not get reviewed? And then there were two penalties, a no call that also killed the Bills late in this game. Both controversial pass interference calls on the last drive for the Broncos that got them in the field goal range. Excuse me. And then a no call that didn't go their way the drive before on an incomplete deep pass to Brandon Cooks on third down. So it's like, yeah, that stuff all did happen, and it pretty much all went against the Bills. No, all of it did. Brandon Cooks didn't get the PI call as he was trying to catch it on the sideline. It was a great throw from Josh Allen, but yeah, he was pulling his arm and probably would have caught it if he was able to get two hands on it. But and then you had that same type of bang bang hand fighting between the corner and the wide receiver get called on the Bills. And then the second one on Trey White, he gets there early. I think this one's more understandable. He gets there early, clamps down on the arms. The Bills wide receiver can get his hands on it, but he does not catch it. And that was definitely more so PI, but you could say he never should have been in that position in the first place. But in my opinion, none of that is as bad as this. The Broncos won the turnover battle in this one 5-1. 4 of those Bills turnovers occurred before the interception, the controversial one, and before all these calls. So you had those turnovers that changed the game. You had some missed throws by Josh Allen too that were really disappointing. And where did these all happen? All these turnovers. James Cook started it off by fumbling early and allowed Denver to take a 10-7 lead. And then it was 17-10 late in the half. The Broncos had the lead. Josh Allen's driving, trying to get in the field goal range, and he's running with the ball carelessly out, literally extended away from his body, and he fumbles with 20 seconds left in the half, and the Broncos are able to chip in a field goal before the end to make it 20-10, a two-possession game. And the Bills get the ball to start the second half, and you're like, okay, we can cut this down to one possession. And he takes a deep drop, and he's sitting in the pocket. Nick Bonito beat Deion Dawkins and strip sacks Josh in the middle of his throwing motion. And it's just like, oh, man, like, I get he got beat, and it's his blind side, but, I've seen many quarterbacks have awareness in that type of situation and step up, especially guys like Caleb Stafford was doing it today, and even in that environment was just kind of disappointing play from the Bills. And, yeah, it was looking really bad at that point because, like I said, it's like times like that where you're trying to go and at least make it a one-score game like it should have been the whole time. And they get a field goal, so it's still two possessions, but it takes all the air out of your team. You just spent 20 minutes in halftime talking about how you're going to win and this is how it's going to go. And then the first thing that happens is your offense turns the ball over. So it's this kind of deflating stuff for the Bills that I really think killed them in this game. They, like I said, the Broncos kicked a field goal on fourth and goal. So it's 23-17 after the Bills are able to tie it up thanks to rookie defensive tackle Deone Walker, who picked off Bo Nix and gave them the ball so that they could score and make it 23-17. So it looks good, and like things are finally recovering for the Bills. But then they're at midfield, and they're driving to go, at least make it 23-20. And you think that's what's going to happen. But then Allen throws another deep ball, and it's to Curtis Samuel, and you're thinking, oh, man, like he's going for a touchdown here, and he's intercepted. It was underthrown. And, of course, both teams were able to tie it up late, but just all of this kind of stuff was things that get forgotten when, the end is what everyone's watching, and it comes down to a few calls, So that was not great. It's 20. Excuse me. I gotta go back to the score real quick and make sure. So it's 27-23 Buffalo at one point, because the Broncos go 3 and out after the Bills do eventually score and make it 24-23. And who scored on that drive was Kincaid for the touchdown, who I had any time. So thank you to him for getting that for me. But it's looking finally like I said, the Bills have come back, but you've stopped the Broncos on so many of the past 6 drives that you just knew whenever they had to turn on the gas that they had gas in the reserves, and they come out and they go and score a touchdown on an 8-play drive that goes 73 yards. And it was completed to Marvin Mims in the corner of the end zone. And people got to give Bo Nix some credit. He was pretty spectacular when they needed him to make plays. He was nice and conservative. He didn't blow the lead. Yes, they punted the ball back, but this was a really phenomenal throw to Marvin Mims that got them the lead back, and they make it 30-27. So then the Bills have to respond. They have 55 seconds left, and you're thinking, okay, Josh Allen's been here before. They get to midfield, and things are looking pretty hairy. It's at the Buffalo 41-yard line, and then it's incomplete, so it's 2nd and 10. And Josh Allen throws a pass to Shakir, who laterals it to Ray Davis on a hook and ladder, who takes it 27 yards into field goal range. And you're thinking, oh, man, now we are in field goal range, and we have potential to take shots at the end zone. So this is fantastic for the Bills. But first pass is incomplete. The second one, also incomplete. It's already 3rd and 10. You got 16 seconds left. One more shot at the end zone. And Allen drops back, and he's got time, and he fires it deep middle towards the end zone, and it's over the head of Dawson Knox, who was open. There were 2 defenders near him, but he definitely would have caught it and had a chance to rumble into the end zone. And they even had a timeout, so if he didn't get in, they would have been able to at least try to score and win the game right there. So that's how they got to overtime, and then all of those penalties and the interception occurred, and just the strange officiating, and it kind of ruined the end of the game. So the Bills lost. The turnovers are the main reason. You're not in overtime, I think, if those turnovers don't happen. They were going to outpace the Broncos if those turnovers didn't happen. I mean, they were even able to get ahead in the fourth quarter in this one, but that's when the Broncos finally were able to turn it back on after going 3 and out and being all conservative. You got lucky with the Deone Walker interception, but that was like the James Cook fumble. It's like, I don't think Josh Allen should be turning the ball. Now, you can question whether the one interception was really his fault, but other than that one, all the rest of them, or the turnovers, were not good. The fumbles were careless. The other interception was underthrown. So it's like that kind of thing cannot be ignored, and people cannot be saying this is all about the refs. I'm sorry. Like, I do feel for Josh Allen, but I think he was so upset after this one because I think he knew, he even said it, that, he felt like he let them down in this one. And while he did have a lot of amazing plays, the truth is he had a lot of crucial ones too that other quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott would be equally criticized for. Mahomes in his Super Bowl last year. Like, everyone gets criticized for this stuff. So, for it to end like that, it really sucks. But I was very disappointed in Josh Allen because it felt like this was the year for him. And now you're going to have Jarred Stidham, in a AFC Championship against Drake May, and good luck to Jarred Stidham and good for Drake May. It's good for those guys, but in terms of Allen and all that he's lost, all the opportunities he's had, this is just not a spot where you feel like he would have lost in the divisional round. So very disappointing for him. Good luck to him next year. Is he ever going to win a Super Bowl? I want to say yes, but I do wonder what is going to change. I feel like with him and Lamar, it just feels like you expect them to, like after 15 years, like they got to get one, right? But the Ravens are actually resetting right now. Like, are the Bills going to do that? Are they going to move on from Brandon Bean and Sean McDermott? It's a good question. And do I think Brandon Cooks was down by contact? To be honest, no. I don't really think it was a catch. I understand we saw something pretty similar in the Rams and Bears game where Devontae was hit, and then after catching a ball, it actually looked like he got knocked out. He went down, he hit his knee, and then as he's kind of like rolling to the ground, it got ripped out. But I felt like that happened a lot slower, noticeably slower, and I think he was much more like set down on the ground. Like, you cannot just hold on to the ball and once they touch themselves down, like try to rip it out and just say you have to hold on to it the whole time. With the Brandon Cooks one, I don't know when everyone is saying he clearly had possession of the ball, because when you show something like a picture, you're like, oh, he's got two hands on the ball, he's like curled over on his side. Yeah, the other guy's got a hand there, but clearly you can see he's got possession. Okay, well, that's a picture. Because I feel like if you get a close-up view of that catch occurring, you're going to see that ball moving around the whole time. It slipped out very easily from Brandon Cooks' hands and into the other guys, even if he just had one hand on there. To me, if there is no clear possession, if two guys are fighting for it, it's nobody's down by contact yet because they don't have the ball. So if you don't have the ball yet, you can't be down by contact and end the play. It has to go through and someone has to gain possession of the ball first. And it seemed like the defensive back was the one who was able to do it. That's just my personal opinion. Definitely felt like it could go either way. The camera angles aren't really that great in that one, but definitely curious to see what some people think could be a solution to something like this, because we've seen a couple situations like this go haywire, but I don't think any microchips could help us with this one. So, and then that's all the tragedy for the Bills. A lot more, but for the Broncos, it's a lot more short. The tragedy for them is Bo Nix broke his ankle on the last two plays of overtime in this one. Unbelievable. Completely unbelievable. I thought it was a joke when we saw it, and I'm not trying to be mean to Bo Nix. Like, I actually feel really bad for him. If anything, I feel more bad for Bo Nix because he played a good enough game to win too. Yes, his team got more turnovers and everything, but he did his job and made a lot of big plays to help them win this game, and now he doesn't get to play in the AFC Championship. It seemed really odd, though. Nobody could see where he got hurt, really, and he was walking around after the game. He did a post-game interview. He looked good, but I think if you look closely, you can see he's kind of gimping around and stuff like that, and throughout the end of the game, and he never looks quite right. You could see it on his face. He knows something's wrong. And when you go back and watch it, it just seems like he kind of gets stepped on like both plays, or maybe like kind of rolled up on a little bit. It's really hard to see, but what a wild situation that is. I feel for Broncos fans, but you know what? Jarred Stidham's not a bad backup. He's going to start at Mile High versus the Patriots next week. And I said it before, but what an odd matchup for the AFC Championship. It reminds me of when the NFC East or the NFC had Case Keenum's Vikings and Nick Foles' Eagles. And that's two backups, and I'm not saying any of them are on Drake May's career trajectory like he is on right now, but just the fact that I don't think anyone was going to predict this matchup, even if it was Bo Nix and Drake May. I still think it should be a good game despite all of that, but feel bad for Bo Nix, man. That really sucks, but let's move on. So we've talked about Rams, Bears, and we've talked about Bills and the Broncos. So now we have two games left. To me, these were the